We also used a reference by Anand. In his study, he categorized some environmental issues into 10 issues. The first one is climate change, and then conservation of species, energy crisis, exploitation of natural resources, land degradation, land use, nuclear issue, overpopulation, pollution, and waste management. Here we use a novel from Lawrence and John entitled Dolphin Song, and as you can see that from the cover as well, we might notice that the main issue probably will be about dolphin. So in this novel, actually the author introduces an issue about sonar test, and maybe some of us do not know that sonar test is dangerous for marine mammals. And this author also use some characters, and the main character is a girl named Martin Allen. And here, Martin Allen plays an important role in the novel. She helps the animals because she has a magic power to heal animals. And here in this novel, she tries to help the dolphins from suffering the effects of sonar test. For the approaches that we used, we applied two approaches. The first one is formalist approach to analyze the plot structure, and then eco-criticism approach to analyze the environmental issues raised in the novel. So actually these two approaches help each other to complement the research and to find the answer of the research question. And for the procedures, firstly, we decided a topic which is about environmental issues and also how these issues are raised in the plot structure. And then after that, we conducted library studies. We used novels and also some journals and articles and books to help us understand and find the answer to the research question. And then after that, we analyzed the plot, the environmental issues, and also the contribution of the issues towards the development of the plot. And hopefully by doing the analysis of these three things, we can find the conclusions. Here is the overview of the result. Before we go to the details, we might see that in exposition, there are two environmental issues raised by the author. The first one is exploitation of animals, and then the second one is pollution of sound. Here we can also observe that pollution of sound is raised in every stage of the plot. So we might see that pollution of sound is the main issue which becomes the author's concern in this novel. The first stage is exposition. As we know that in exposition, we usually notice or we usually observe some characters, setting, and conflicts. And then the author also introduces some characters which support the flow of the story, which are Martin Allen, Ben Kumalo, and her fellow castaways. And then the setting takes place in KwaZulu-Natal Coast and also in one of the Bazaruto Islands. And here, the event of the story happened between June and July because in the novel, the author explained that between June and July, the fish and the marine mammals migrate from one place to another. So from the story, the author wants to highlight that the moment in this novel is seen as the best moment to introduce the issue. And then we also see the conflicts there. We observe that sonar test is actually raised in this beginning of the stage. And also we see that the environmental issues are exploitation of African animals and then pollution of sound. The African animals themselves are dolphins and white giraffe, and then the pollution of sound raised is sonar test. Here we also see that these issues play important roles related to the character, setting, and conflicts. So the issues actually support how the character, setting, and conflicts behave or contribute towards the development of the plot. All right, so the second stage is generating circumstances. Here, the issues are raised in a higher position. The issues become more intensified, but still the issues are related to the previous stage, which is the exposition. Here we see that there are some events which support how uh, the issue is implemented in the novel. And then the environmental issue itself is pollution of sound, which is undersea mine. And we know that undersea mine, or we usually know this as a bomb, is dangerous for environment in ocean because if it detonates in the wrong place, then it can destroy the environment there, and it can lead to the extinction. And then we see that this issue contributes towards the development of the plot from the previous sequence. And it also contributes to the addition of character, which is Ben, and changes the character's opinion about the island. Because on the first stage, the character here, who is Ben, does not notice about the issue in that island. And then the third one, here we see that the events are also related to the previous one, but here we see that the issue becomes more focused on sonar test. And here we see that the events are related to how sonar test is implemented in the events and how it affects the things or the objects there in the novel. And then the environmental issue itself intensifies the conflict of the story because in this stage, which is the rising action, it raises the issue or the conflict into the next step, which is the climax. We know that in climax, there will be maybe some or maybe only one issue or main conflict raised by the author. And then we observe that the main issue here or the main conflict here is the pollution of sound or sonar test. Here, the sonar test makes or contributes towards how the character behaves or how the character wants to overcome that problem. As we can see that in this stage, the characters try to solve the problem because they have to look for the information related to the environmental issue and how they should deal with that because they have limited resources, they have limited like we can say weapons uh, to fight the men, because in the novel there are 3 men, African men, who want to try the sonar test in that place, and they notice that this test can be dangerous for marine mammals, especially the dolphins they have already known. All right, so uh, finally the plot uh, comes to the denouement or the resolution. In resolution, it is supposed to be the last stage of the plot, and hopefully that the conflict is lowered. But we can see that in this stage, pollution of sound is also raised in this stage because the characters still talk about how they will do uh, in order to stop this test in other areas. But maybe the author wants to leave it as it is because she wants us to also be aware of this issue, because maybe some of us do not know that sonar test is dangerous for marine mammals, and maybe by reading this novel, especially for children, they can know that, oh, sonor test is dangerous, so we should do something, or maybe we should have a contribution, even though it is only a little contribution, but we will do anything to make this environment become a better place for us all to live. All right, so from this study, we concluded that exposition is the first of the stage in plot sequence where exploitation of animals is raised by the author, and also we can see that pollution of sound is raised in every sequence of event. We also notice that the issues lead the development of the plot from the beginning until the end of the novel. Now we can notice that this topic can be implemented in the field of education. The first one is that teachers can help the students raise their critical thinking and compassion related to environmental issues by, for example, reading stories about environmental issues. And hopefully, after reading the stories, the students can find the ways or the things that they want to contribute toward the environmental issues. And then the teacher can also make a comic related to environmental issues taken from a novel. For example, maybe there are some novels by Lawrence St. John which also raise about environmental issues, not only Dolphin Song, but there are also other novels, not from Lawrence and John only, and they can make these novels become the sources, so they can make comics or maybe other learning media which will be beneficial and helpful for the teachers to teach the students about environmental issues. And maybe they can also combine this with English. For example, they can teach English and they can put some stories about environmental issues there in the comics, for example, and then they can ask the students to mention the environmental issues they find in the novel or in the conflict, in the comics, I mean. And then hopefully by doing this, the teacher can make the learning activities become more enjoyable and interesting. And these are the references that we used in analyzing the topic. And then thank you for your attention. If you have any question, please kindly let us know. Thank you.
Well, yes, I would like to add a little. I would like to add a little bit that actually for the implications, it is actually not a part of our main study, but we are trying to relate that into the field of education, especially in language teaching. There are just so many things that we can derive from the novel and put it into language classroom activities. And one of them is asking the students to make the comic, yeah, based on the story. We can, if the students feel very burdened with the whole text or whole part of the novel, then actually you can pick up a little bit from the novel and then asking the students to make the comic story based on that, on the script, on the limited parts of the novel. So that is my addition. So thank you. I'll give the time back to the moderator.
Well, thank you very much for Ms. Maria Regina and Ms. Tri. I agree that exploitation of natural resources and pollution are the most important issues which need to be discussed further. Thank you very much for the awesome presentation, the presenters, and then let's move to the second presentations. And the second presentation entitled Politeness Strategies Used by Erin Gruwel in Freedom Writers will be delivered by Charlie Priska Maria Lehito and, sorry, Miss Charlie Priska Maria Lehito and Miss Tri again. From Sanata Dharma University also. The presentation will take 15 minutes. Miss Charlie and Miss Tri, the time is yours.
Thank you very much, moderator. Well, this is me again. Uh, I would like to, we would like to share with you our study entitled Politeness Strategies used by Erin Brewer in Freedom Writers movie.
Sorry for the
Right, okay. Can you hear me more clearly now?
Yes, more clearly, Miss.
Yes, thank you. So this study is done over a movie, yeah, entitled Freedom Writers, and we are very interested in this to study politeness strategies in this movie because as a teacher and candidate of teachers, we need to be aware on the issues related to politeness strategies. So Ms. Charlie will start with a presentation.
Okay, thank you so much, Miss Tri. Okay, good morning, everyone. Yes.
And then, yeah, okay.
So good morning once again, everyone. Here we are going to present our result or our study about politeness strategies used by Erin Growell in Freedom Riders movie. Okay. In this time, there are 5 topic discussion that we are going to share. The first one is background, the second is methodology, the third is findings, the fourth is discussion, and then the last one is conclusion. So the background of the study or the reason why we conduct the study, the first one is because we see language really matters in social context. As we know that language is our tool to connect or to share our idea in social context. That's why we need to pay attention to our language in society, so that when we produce our language, we don't cause any problems or issue related to our language. And then the second one, because politeness in education is also important, especially for us as teacher, soon to be, or as teacher or lecturer, because when we know or we already had the knowledge about the politeness and we implement it in education, we can achieve the goal of our teaching in a classroom. So the students are also relaxed, fun, but serious in enjoying the teaching learning process. And then the other reason why we conduct the study is because Erin Gruel was so inspiring teacher. For those who already watch about Freedom Riders movie will know who Erin is. Erin actually a new teacher in junior in Wilson High School in California. And as the first time being a teacher in that school, Erin faced certain situation where in the California at the moment in 1994, racism, discrimination still existed in that era. So Erin didn't only face how to teach, but also how to deal with a certain situation where every students in 302 room were so sensitive to each other. So Erin should pay attention to a language that she used in the classroom. And also the Freedom Riders movie is taken from the real situations and also relevant to the era where we saw that in the previous time that such a situation happened in Indonesia as well. So as a teacher, we should pay attention to our language and our politeness in classroom. And then here are some issues or problems that caused by our tongue if we don't really pay attention on that. So that's why the researchers really want to conduct the study so that we avoid certain situation in our country. And then here are some research questions that we already formulated. The first one is, what are politeness strategies used by Erin Growell in Freedom Riders movie? And then what factors influence Erin politeness strategy? So for the theories, we used theory from Brown and Levinson in conducting the study. And then within the politeness strategy, there are some things, some important part to be known. The first one is face, and then face threatening acts, and then the factors that influence someone's politeness strategy. For the methodology, this thesis or this study is a qualitative research, since the focus of this study is analyzing the utterances of Erin Growell in the movie. And then the document analysis is used, since the transcript movie is used to gather and to analyze Erin's utterances. And then the technique to gather the data, the writers or the researchers use observation technique. And then in analyzing the data, there are three things. The first one is data reduction, and then the second data display, and then the last one conclusion drawing. It is based on Miles and Huberman. Okay, here is the structure where politeness strategy begins. So the first one, the important thing we should know when we want to know about politeness strategy is face. We should have the sensitivity to others' face in public. So when we already know others' faces in public, then we could exactly which politeness strategy that we can use to several people. And according to Brown and Levinson, there are 4 politeness strategies. The first one is positive politeness, negative politeness, bold on record, and off record. And according to the findings, the highest strategy that Erin used in the movie is positive politeness, which has 62%, and then followed by negative politeness, 18%, and then 13% of bold on record politeness, and then the lowest one is 7% of off-record politeness. And then since Erin used the 4 politeness strategy in her utterances in the movie, so according to Brown and Levinson, each strategy also has the advantages or the payoffs or the result. So positive politeness has the advantages, and then so on and so forth. And then the other factors that influence Erin's politeness is sociological variables. And in this factor, there are 3 things that cause someone's politeness, which are social distance, relative power, and then rank of imposition. Okay, here are some scenes that we can share when Erin applied or implemented the 4 politeness strategy. So the first one is bold on record. Happened when Erin was explaining material for students, but then some students interrupted her by saying some inappropriate words, like we can see in the screen. Andrew said, "Think we don't know to pack?" And then Marcus said, "White girl gonna teach us about rap." But Erin still smiling and said, "No, it's not that. See what I was trying to do." And then Eva interrupted by saying, "You have no idea what you are doing up there, do you? You ever been a teacher before?" And teacher gets nailed, y'all. So Erin's face actually in the public already threatened by those statements. So Erin couldn't control her emotion anymore. So Erin used bold on record to to save her to save her face by implementing bold on record. And then she added, "Come on, I'm sick of these antics in my classroom." So after Erin applied implementing this bold on record, so she could control again the situation, and the students actually became silent because of the bold on record strategy. Okay, next is positive politeness happen when Eva and Erin were talking together. So in this case, Eva asking permission to Erin whether she can stay late in the classroom because she had a problem in her home. So she asked permission to Erin, and then Erin satisfied Eva's face in the public. Erin's implemented positive politeness by saying, "You can stay as late as you want, and I can even drive you to your aunt's if it gets too late." So Erin succeeded to save Eva's face in the public, and Eva responding by giving her smiling. And then the negative politeness happened when Erin uh, asking permission to Miss Campbell to use some books in the library for her teaching and learning process. But then Miss Campbell actually didn't give the chance to Erin to use the books. And Erin actually didn't know what's next. So she said such inappropriate sentence or statement for Miss Campbell, and then actually that statement threatened Miss Campbell's face. And then Miss Campbell said, "Let me explain. It's called site-based instruction. It means that I and the principal each have the authority to make these kinds of decisions without having to go to the board who have bigger problems to solve. Do you understand how it works now?" And then after hearing such a statement from Miss Campbell, Erin just realized that she already threatened Miss Campbell's face. So she implemented negative politeness by saying, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to overstep your authority. I would never do that. I just," and then uh, she just went to the direct statement. I don't know how to make them interested in reading with this. So before she came to the direct statement, she applied or she implemented negative politeness by saying sorry to Miss Campbell so that she could recover Miss Campbell's face that already threatened. And then off-record strategy happened when Erin, Steve, Scott were having dinner together. So Scott here, her husband, and then Steve is her father. And Steve here asking a lot of questions to the husband, and then actually that question is such a making them down. So Erin couldn't control her emotion, and then she want to say something direct to the father, but then she realized that uh, he is a father of Erin. So Erin want to be polite, but also want to direct things. So she used off record to give a clue by saying such question. Uh, if you know, why are you asking? So Steve actually said, "How much are you making? $27,000 before taxes." So he said it to her husband, and then Erin couldn't control her emotions, so she responded by saying, "If you know, why are you asking?" So um, it actually belongs to the rhetorical question, where this question doesn't need any answer. She just want to emphasize her father. If you know, then why are you asking? So stop asking such question that underestimated us. So the conclusion is there are 4 politeness strategies that Erin used in the movie. And then the highest strategy that found in the Erin's utterances is positive politeness, since in the dialogue, Erin have the dialogue or have talked too much with the students in the classroom, and Erin want to use positive politeness to get along with the students to make the teaching and learning process become so fun, relaxed, but also serious. And then the several factors affected the use of politeness were payoffs, the advantages of each strategy, and then sociological variables. And then the important thing in learning politeness strategy is knowing others' face in public. So when we have the sensitivity in the public, when we have the sensitivity in others' face in public, we could know or we could use politeness strategy to certain people and then to avoid the FTA or face threatening act. So here are the references that we use in conducting the study, and thank you so much for the attention and good morning.
Well, the moderator, thank you for the notice from the chat room. That time is up, so now we give the time back to you to lead the discussion over what we have with our studies.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Tri, for the understanding. For my personal comments to your presentation, that was interesting to identify the politeness in social context. Very well, our two presenters today. Okay, now it's time for questions and answers. For the first round, I will invite 3 questions. Please click on the raise hand icon and give your name and affiliation before ask the question, or you can addressing your question on the chat box and fill the chat box with your name _ affiliation. Then write your question. And please refer to whom you would like to ask. Okay? In this meeting, you can click the raise hand icon on your Zoom if you want to talk directly to the presenters. Maybe here are some students for Sanata Dharma University. You can ask the presenters, and maybe you want to prepare your description, what is called? Thesis, yeah, okay. Sorry, description, okay, thank you. You can ask directly to them, okay?
Yes, feel free to ask questions. We will be very happy to have your questions and also probably suggestions also to improve our study.
Okay, maybe I can restate the title of the 2 presenters. From Miss Maria and Miss Tri in the first row, Environmental Issues Over the Plot in Dolphin Song by Lauren St. John, and maybe you can ask around the title. And if you followed the presentation, you can ask directly if you have confusion or if you are going to write your thesis, maybe in here in 7th semester, you can ask. And the second is the title, Politeness Strategies Used by Erin Gruel in Freedom Writers. You can write in the chat box.
Everyone is off screen, so I hope that you are all there.
Yes.
Okay. Well, while waiting for the questions, then we would like to, I would like to add more information related to our study with the, so the politeness strategies. I think in the implication of the teaching, this is very important for every one of us, because while we are studying this script, then we realize that as teachers, we have to have very good knowledge on politeness strategies, so that later when we are doing our job, we can address our students, we can respond to our students appropriately. And I think from the movie, we also learned that Erin, who was, well, I actually, when I watched the movie and then did the analysis, and I was thinking like myself, if I were in Erin's place, and then, well, what would I, should I do? Will I stay with my profession, or will I quit because of the students, reactions and behavior? But then I learned a lot from Erin, that actually, um, I I think Erin was aware about the language that she used, and to choose the ones which are very appropriate to respond to the students. Okay, so there is one question from the
From Miss Ika.
yeah.
Miss Maria and Miss Tri, what can we learn from your study in relation to our recent situation? Thank you. Maybe you can directly answer the question, please.
All right, so thank you for the question, Miss Ika. So actually from this study, we noticed that this study is about environmental issues, and we know that we live in this earth, we share this earth with other creatures, not only humans, but we also share this earth with animals and plants, and also other, maybe some non-living things. And we should know that environmental issues actually are not myths, or maybe are not jokes. We see that practically, we see that environmental issues can be felt by us nowadays, as we know that the first example may be the climate. We know that maybe we should have rainy season in this month, for example, but we noticed that it's still sunny all day long, and the temperature is going hotter, and we might question what happens to our earth. And some scientists mentioned that maybe it's because the ozone layer. And now we think back, what have we done that it affects the ozone layer to be like this, for example. So hopefully by doing this study, we can help the students and also the teachers to know that there are literary works out there, not only from Saint John, but also I believe that maybe by Harry Potter, we can also take Harry Potter, because Harry Potter mentioned some plants which can be used as a medicine. So we noticed that from novels we can learn that environment is really helpful for us, and we cannot live without environment. We cannot live without other things. We cannot deny that we live with animals and plants, and we cannot ignore them, because we help them, and we need them also. So hopefully it answers your question, Miss. Thank you.
Very well. Answers Miss Maria Regina, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, thank you. I hope all the answers of the Miss Maria Regina can cover all the confusion of Miss Ika. Okay, because the time 1 minute left, maybe for all the audience, you can open your camera and we will take the screenshot session. I will not say this as the photo session because it's screenshot. Okay, everyone, please. Have you opened your camera? Okay, let me see one by one. Okay, great. Hello, everyone. Nice to see you. Your face is so handsome and beautiful. I'm not joke, okay? It's real. Okay, thank you. Miss Maria Olivia, you can open your camera. I want to see your beautiful face as well. Wow. Miss Nindya Ayu. Miss Maria Kilaola and ML Kilaola. Okay, maybe the operator can take. 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, I still see on off camera. Maybe you can open. Okay, all right. Thank you. 1, 2, 3, smile. Done? Okay. Once again, operator. Okay, once again. 1, 2, 3, cheese. Okay. Thank you very much. That's the end of the parallel session 1. And thank you for joining us. And I really appreciate your participation in this room. After this, we will have a lunch break in 1.5 hours. And make sure that you have your lunch as well, because after this, we will have another session. And also, thank you very much for joining. Have a great day, and see you everyone. You can back to the main room, maybe, or maybe later. Thank you.
So we may leave now.
Thank you very much for the presenters, Mistry.
Thank you.
I'm so nervous.
Me too.
Don't forget to take your lunch, everyone.